Outreach's Magic Pride Festival is back this year for its 7th anniversary. The festival will be held on Sunday, August 17th from 1 to 6 p.m. at Warner Park. The fest will include performances from local artists who identify as LGBTQ+, food and beverage carts, merchant vendors, info booths, family-friendly games, and more. The Magic Pride Festival celebrates the voices of queer and trans BIPOC in the Madison community. Suggested donation to attend is $5 to $10 or a non-perishable food item for Outreach's pantry. Learn more details at outreachmagicfestival.org. Looking to add a little glow to your home? Wisco Home Goods has you covered with hand-poured soy candles crafted in small batches, made to burn clean, and scented to perfection. Stop by their store at 4664 Cottage Grove Road on Madison's beautiful east side, or browse online at wiscohomegoods.com. Shop local, breathe easy, feel good with Wisco Home Goods. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Howdy, y'all. Before we dive into today's episode, I've got a favor to ask of you. Yes, you. CityCast is doing our annual listener survey, and it would really help us if you took it. It'll only take about 7 minutes. If you took it last year, we would be grateful if you took it again, since we can't use last year's data anymore. So please go to citycast.fm/survey to take that survey. That's citycast.fm/survey. Once we meet our critical threshold of folks who have taken it in Madison, I'll stop asking. What's in it for you besides potentially improved content in your ears and inbox in the near future? When you take the survey, you'll also be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and CityCast Madison swag. So go to citycast.fm/survey. Make my day. Make my day. Today, it's time for the Friday News Roundup, where we're no longer thinking Wisconsin is a so-called climate change haven, the rent is too damn high, and hippie Christmas is, well, a mixed bag of joy and waste. Let's get into it. Want to welcome our executive producer, Haley Sperling. Hey, Haley.
Hi, Bianca. I'm so excited to talk about everything today.
And our newsletter editor, Rob Thomas. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Bianca.
Well, Haley, I'm glad you're excited because you're kicking us off this week with the recent severe storms. My goodness gracious.
Yeah, how about that weather, eh?
Yay, yikes.
I'm joking, but also, Madison is pretty dry today, but major rainfall across the southern part of the state caused Governor Tony Evers to declare a state of emergency on Monday, August 11th. So very serious stuff happening. Over the weekend, Madison received about 2.35 inches of rain, which might not actually sound like that much. At least to me, I'm like 2.5 inches. That's whatever. But when it comes all at once, it can have some really devastating and major impacts. Streets across the isthmus flooded. And even today, walking around the East Wash area, I saw a lot of dried up dirt and mud in the streets. That was clearly where the rain had lifted up the sediment. The rain also led to the cancellation of a few major events in town that we were really excited to talk about last week. Rob had our great weekend roundup.
Yeah, I have to go back and edit that because we...
Right. Do we issue a correction for weather?
Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, so the rain led to a cancellation of some major events. Like I said, Ride the Drive was canceled. And since it's such a major production lift to put that event on, they're literally closing down John Nolan. They don't have a rain date as a backup. So people will have to wait until next year to get their fix on that one. Additionally, the Madison Black Restaurant Week Food Taste Jamboree got rained out, but there is good news with that one. The event has been rescheduled for August 17th at the Madison Labor Temple over on South Park Street. So thankfully, they've got an indoor option there too, just in case history repeats itself, right? And thankfully, the rain didn't slow anything down for us over at the Strip Mall Carnival. Bianca still got in that dunk tank. I got to dunk her. B, how was that experience for you?
Yes, she did. It was honestly, it was what will I call it? A roller coaster. I will say. I know I was like, yeah, of course, put me in the dunk tank. And all week dreading it, driving to the carnival, I was like, this is scary. I don't like it. It's gonna be cold. After you get dunked once, so fun. I was like, I could stay. Probably 12 people dunked me. There's also a moment where my sister dunked me, and the MC was Paul Guzzi, who does Smarter Than You trivia, and he was like, yeah, this is real sister rivalry. You know, he was a really great MC. So the whole thing was slam dunk. I'm embarrassing. I'm embarrassing.
A slam dunk tank. Yeah. Yeah, we had fun. And, you know, like I said, it's mostly fun and games in Madison, but in the Milwaukee area, it is a much different story. They got hit hard. Compared to our 2.35 inches of rain, the Milwaukee area got roughly 7 inches of rain. But precipitation totals were even higher in some areas, causing widespread flash flooding and really severe damage in that area. It even forced the cancellation of the last day of the state fair. So that was pretty devastating for folks. Have you guys seen any of the images coming out of Milwaukee? Rob, I know you put one in the newsletter.
Yeah, I mean, they're shocking. They're surreal. Like, the first ones I saw were people leaving the state fair Saturday night and, you know, wading through thigh-high water to try and get back to their cars. And it's scary. I mean, it's really scary, especially, you know, you don't, as you said, you think of Wisconsin as a climate haven. And guess not. I guess there's no place to hide.
There is no place to hide. Climate change is coming for us all.
Yeah, I definitely saw the images and, you know, it was scary. The storm was forceful here. Like, it was waking us up in the middle of the night.
Oh,
and
constantly.
Just, you know, so we got lucky. But what was happening in Milwaukee and Wauwatosa, in West Allis, I mean, it was very frightening.
Yeah. Yeah. And thankfully, though the damage was severe and extensive, thousands of insurance claims have already been filed, as you can imagine. Thankfully, no fatalities have been reported. I'm not going to get too into the weeds about this 1,000-year flood that happened in the Milwaukee area because you guys are actually going to hear about it on our Monday show. Bianca sat down with state climatologist Steve Vavris. Any major takeaways from that conversation, B? Not to give away the whole episode, but
yeah, for sure. One that stood out to me was just that this was unofficially the statewide record for most rainfall in a 24-hour period. He said unofficially because they're still verifying data. But the current is 11.7 inches, and like a number of gauges went well above that. Another standout is like he talked about a man who lived in Milwaukee for 50 years and mostly, you know, hadn't had any issues with his basement. And here he had 3 feet of water. You know, and that just shows like the times are changing. Like hopefully most of us had the warning. What was the documentary that Al Gore put out? The Inconvenient Truth. Yeah. Like, I've been afraid since I was 10 or whatever that came out. Just like
that's so
something,
real.
Yeah, just like scientists have been telling us for decades. 2 decades later, it's here. And, you know, Steve Vavris also called to the flooding happening in Houston, which had so many more casualties. Like Milwaukee, somehow we got lucky with the life toll from the floods. And now this week, you know, I've been watching Chattanooga, Tennessee, who they're also experiencing historic levels. Apparently, they had their wettest day on record since 1879, according to the National Weather Service. And so it's just like flooding disasters across the country, including right here in Wisconsin.
It's really scary stuff. I mean, we were really lucky that there haven't been any fatalities because, like, this is, no matter what, it is still very dangerous. I've seen photos of cars being engulfed by water, flooded basements, you know, washed out streets. It's scary stuff. It's scary stuff. And yeah, the Inconvenient Truth, that is so real, though. I do remember being like in 4th grade and being like, why are we not doing anything about this? And now here I am as an adult and I'm still, why are we not doing anything about this?
Why didn't we do anything about that?
Right. What do we do?
Yeah. I was also listening to a show from New York Times and they had a climate expert on that said some effort is better than none. Like, I think a lot of climate discussions was like, we have to fix everything or we're doomed. But it's like actually every effort that we make makes a difference with our emissions, and like doing something in the middle is important, and getting adaptive and thinking like, hey, we might have a new reality. So, you know, we should not be putting our heads in the ground any longer and really taking this more seriously.
You can make a difference. Everyone can make a difference. I love that. I needed a little positivity there, right?
Yeah, yes. We are going to be serving some positivity because there's, a lot of doom and gloom. But when we're thinking about flooding and our houses and basements and the potential costs of future flooding, housing costs are on the mind. And the city hit a milestone this week with a key affordable housing redevelopment. So we're going to switch gears. But before we dive into that news, let's take a quick break. Looking for a fun, family-friendly event that truly makes a difference? Join the 18th annual Gilda's Run Walk on Sunday, October 5th at Gilda's Club in Middleton. Whether you choose the self-timed 5K run or the 2-mile walk, there's something for everyone, including when you cross the finish line, a picnic with Ruth's Chris Burgers, chocolate shop ice cream, and activities for all ages. Need a little help getting started? Their free Couch to 5K program offers expert guidance to keep you motivated every step of the way. Register by August 31st for early bird pricing, just $35 for adults and $25 for kids. And get your official event t-shirt. Want to make an even bigger impact? Form a team and fundraise to help keep Gilda's Club program free and accessible for those affected by cancer. Every dollar raised stays right here in Wisconsin, supporting local families. This event is presented by Exact Sciences, Levy Giving Fund, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and WKOW. Sign up today at gildasrunwalk.com, and together, let's make every step count.
Got any fun trips coming up? One thing you probably haven't put on your packing list is learning the language. But with Babbel, you can start talking in just a few weeks. I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast, and I've been learning Spanish with Babbel. And I also just persuaded my friend who's going to France this fall to learn French with Babbel, but that is another story. Babbel's extremely fun and intuitive. It's like having a private tutor in your pocket. Handcrafted by over 200 language experts, Babbel's lessons are voiced by real native speakers and built with science-backed cognitive tools and interactive features to fit any learning style. I love a lot of the different Babbel features. The Babbel games for sentence building, Babbel speech recognition, which helps me get the pronunciation right. And now I'm really into Babbel's word of the day, which greets me on the homepage of the app. Every day, a new word revealed like a little surprise with a sentence to help contextualize it. It's like a daily treat for me. Studies from Yale, Michigan State, and other leading universities continue to prove that Babbel works. One study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester at college. Look, I want you to learn another language. So I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for CityCast listeners at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Babbel.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Y'all know we already talked a little bit about Hippie Christmas, or at least up top I mentioned it. It's moving time in the city, on the Isthmus, and around campus. And what's abundantly clear these past few years is just how expensive it is to live in Madison. Our friend, reporter Liam Barron, who's been on the show over at the Isthmus, wrote a piece published this week, Catching Eyes, entitled Madison Rents Went Up 47% over the last 5 years. Wowza. I know you guys, that caught all your guys' eyes, right? We all seen it, independent.
I'm living it, man. I mean, yeah. I'm glad someone said it and like wrote it down. That's how I feel about it. It's like we're all feeling it, and now we're talking about it more, which is good, I guess.
Yeah, just like this has been happening, but now I have proof. We've got numbers on it. So that figure was pulled from a study published late last month from Apartment List, and that was specifically for 1 and 2 bedroom apartments in Madison, that those have gone up 47% since 2020. They said the median for a 1-bedroom apartment is now $1,488, and a 2-bedroom apartment is $1,664, respectively, a couple and a few hundred above the national median. What are y'all's reactions to hearing these numbers?
I mean, I want to know where these $1,600 2-bedrooms are because I'm not seeing them. Like, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment and I pay a lot more than that. It's not like a crazy fancy building. It is a newer spot, I guess. You know, I've got in-unit washer and dryer, 2-bed, 2-bath, and underground parking. But like, again, I'm paying significantly more than this. The 1-bedroom that feels right to me. It feels wrong, but it looks right. I think thinking back to my several 1-bedroom apartments that I've had, I started off at like 1145 back in maybe 2018. And then in 2020, I lived in a brand new apartment over on East Johnson. And I think I was paying maybe 13 something. And now seeing that number start at almost 1500, unfortunately does track for me.
And I do wonder, like you said, it's the median. So like there may be some apartments that haven't been updated. They're a little bit lower. And so that's pulling down when really the apartments that most people are looking for are on the higher end of that.
Yeah, because I moved relatively recently, so I was looking for a 2-bedroom because we work from home. I needed a door to close the cats away, but it was really hard to find a 2-bedroom that was not an insane amount of money, and especially all these big new buildings like charging upwards of like $3,000. It's wild. It's wild.
Well, I think the median too, right? We're thinking about all of the different Madison
Sure.
properties, and my experience is like there are a lot of older spaces and places. Obviously, if you want a laundry in unit, boom, $300, $500 more. And then thinking about all the way across Madison, right? So, but yeah, like if you want certain amenities, it's a lot higher than that median for sure. But y'all, there is a positive note outside of the rent being too damn high in that piece, which is vacancy rates in Dane County are currently at the highest they've been in more than 5 years, which is a big deal because that should bode well for people getting cheaper rents, I do want to stay on the positive note here and switch gears to another related story. The city of Madison and the Madison Community Development Authority broke ground on a significant affordable housing redevelopment on Wednesday. And I'm really, truly excited about this, y'all. It's the Triangle neighborhood, and so named the Triangle Redevelopment. So that's the neighborhood bordered by West Wash, South Park Street, and Regent Street. And it's bounded by those streets in about 26 acres. And over the next decade, according to the Wisconsin State Journal, the city and our Community Development Authority and partners are going to be rebuilding and redeveloping 336 units of aging public housing. And there will be up to 1,200 new units, which is huge. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. And I feel like one of the big things too, when I talk about, my 2 bedrooms are so expensive, it's like because of the neighborhoods that I am looking at, right? It's because I want to be on a certain part of town, or like if you want to live downtown or have access to, these sort of city amenities that we have. It's amazing that they are building and, restructuring these units in such a central part of Madison so that it's not just affordable housing on the outskirts of town.
Yeah, really good point. It's a really good point. And it's exciting for the people that live there. It's probably a little complicated, but they'll be moving current CDA, Community Development Authority residents out of the aging properties and, giving them a space to live. But then they get to move back into modern housing. The city says that they'll be getting new, more modern housing that's still, quote, deeply affordable. There's actually another development right in that area, which was done by Bayview Foundation. If folks listening, you don't know, if you've driven by these super colorful townhouses, this cluster, that every time I pass, I'm like, dang, I want to live there. This is like kind of magical. That was a project that kind of wrapped up late last year from the Bayview Foundation, where they spent around $60 million to overhaul replacing 102 deteriorating houses with 130 new colorful ones. And it also has a community center, which it's frankly beautiful. And so looking at that makes thinking about this redevelopment project that, we just broke ground on, and by we, I mean the city, really exciting, because that's a whole new project that is a $300 million initiative set for the next decade. Like they're just in phase 1 in the groundbreaking, but there seems like there's excitement about the Bayview complex. You guys have seen it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it adds so much brightness and color to the city. There's public art. We need so much more public art. It's nice. It's nice.
I got pulled over by a cop right across the street from Bayview, actually.
And had a great view.
It was great. I was in a great mood. Yeah. No, I mean, it really is beautiful. That mural you see when you're heading west on Wash, so beautiful. And like, as you said, Haley, I'm sure you feel good living there. You feel like you're part of the community because you are. And that's what we want is, we want affordable housing, but we also want people to be part of the city, and and having these beautiful spaces to live affordably helps them do that.
Yeah, the piece I kind of learned more about that, which was in the Wisconsin State Journal from Nicole Polak, like it was emotional. They have images and stories of families who do live in that Bayview complex, like crying and feeling like, wow, I feel valued. Like it's not just public housing that's ugly and deteriorating and unsafe. Like they can have pride in where they live. And so I hope, they're continuing on. I have no idea about what the colors are going to be for the Triangle redevelopment, but CityCast Madison, we are calling for colorful developments. I hope that they do kind of like keep in line with that. But I will shout out, this is something that they'll be having residents that currently live in that area, moving into the new homes, but they're also building additional housing over there, hundreds of new units for residents across the income spectrum. So it's more housing. What are we talking about all the time? We need more housing, and this is one of the, efforts towards that. The redevelopment will be in the same area, as we said, the Bayview Foundation, and also the Asian Midway grocery store and tons of medical service providers. They had a groundbreaking ceremony on Wednesday, and the mayor of Satya Rhodes County was there, Governor Tony Evers, Congressman Mark Pocan, and more. Hard hats were worn, dirt was put into shovels. But in all seriousness, it deserves some pomp and circumstance. So we'll definitely be tracking this through the phases. We're going to turn to some more stories in our restaurant scene. But before we do that, let's take a quick break. All right, I'm feeling kind of hungry. Rob, this is about to make it worse.
That's right. Yeah, bad timing. Yeah, I've got some restaurant news. This has to be the most long-awaited restaurant opening in recent Madison history, but not necessarily because of the restaurant, but just because of the location. I'm talking about 250 State Street, which is got to be one of the most well-traveled intersections in the city. It's where State, Johnson, and Henry meet. Momoka's on one corner. There's that Noodles that's been there forever. And there's this spot at 250, which has been vacant for like a decade. There was
literally.
Yeah.
Really?
Literally.
My last memory in the Panera, that's a decade ago?
Was it it was a Panera,
Cozy.
and then it was a Cozy, which I'm trying to, I know I ate there.
I ate in both.
Yeah, it was like a panini sandwich place. I'm trying to remember even what that was.
It was very similar vibes to Panera.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it closed, and like for
that
9 years, it was nothing. I remember at one point, I think where people were even putting in like fake posters in the window of like fake things that were coming. It was like an art installation. And then like a couple years ago, this restaurant, Baked Wings and Things, said it was coming. And that still took 2 years. But Baked Wings and Things on State Street, they opened at the end of July. I assumed Baked Wings and Things was another chain like Panera or Cozy, but there's actually one other location in Rockford, Illinois, which the owners closed to focus on this one. Marion Elbow in the Cap Times reports it's a chicken-forward restaurant, as you might expect, with baked wings.
That's the wings part.
That's right. And this, that's a chicken-rich environment because we got a Raising Cane's down the street.
True.
And I guess there's a Popeyes coming too in the 600 block of.
Really?
Yeah.
That's news to me.
I think I saw that. Yeah. There's a lot of chicken going on down there.
A lot of chicken on State Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the owners of Baked Wings and Things focus on the things. And then in addition to wings, they'll have smash burgers. They have salads. It looks like a pretty good spot. I think I want to stop by, especially since it is their only location now. And the owners are driving up from Rockford every day to, pour their heart and soul into it. So just happy something is finally in that spot.
I mean, I remember this was announced, like you said, 2 years ago. They're driving up from Rockford every day. Is that why it took so long?
I guess so, yeah. I even drove by the one in Rockford when I went to see Jason Isbell down there a couple of months ago and was like, oh, this must be a big chain. But that was the only other one. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So you already have a connection.
Yeah. So
Kindred wing spirits.
There you go.
I'm so glad that something is finally going into that space. It is such a tease to have to like walk on State Street all the time and see that just shuttered restaurant. So for context, like the Badger Herald offices are like right on that block too. And so when Cozy closed, I was just getting involved at the Herald and I was like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Guess it's mac and cheese bowls for you, Haley.
Oh my God.
Noodles.
It was a lot of noodles. It was a lot of PDR, rest in peace. It was a lot of Parthenon, still love Parthenon.
Yeah.
But
I used to
I'm
work
excited.
at Momoka, so I would definitely go there for lunch and kind of like oscillate between it or like go back and forth. But then I also lived on West Gorham on that block behind it. So they better come correct because this is an important corner.
Well, I'm actually glad that they're not a chain because we're seeing more and more of those on State Street, obviously. And
Because
so that's,
who can afford rent on State Street other than the chains?
So in other good news, Little Tibet, the favorite Southeast Asian restaurant on Johnson Street, has opened a second location on Sherman Avenue in the Northgate Shopping Center. And what's cool about it is this is the Little Tibet Market and Cafe. So as the name suggests, it's both a restaurant where you can get like samosas and boba tea, but then it's also a grocery store that focuses on like fresh produce and specialty items from Southeast Asia. So it's a really cool idea. It kind of reminds me of like what Stallsies did, or where it's sort of like it doesn't rely entirely on the restaurant traffic, and it's also a grocery. So I think that's a cool concept.
I love those like 2-in-1s, and especially when they are like, I'm thinking of like Patricia's Market over in the north side too, you know, where you can like get tacos, but also buy, avocados for guacamole, whatever.
Right.
You just know that the food they're serving there is so good. And honestly, anywhere that we get more housing, more access to good food, that's a huge win.
Also, something to notice is Little Tibet, like on East Johnson, that block, it has Robin Room. It has, a little bit down there's Johnson's Public House. There are a lot of successful businesses that are moving and building new businesses from this block. So you go, Little Tibet. I also lived on this block. Living around Madison, eating our way through.
Pretty soon it'll be Big Tibet.
Yeah. When did they transition?
That's right.
But they'll stay humble.
There you go. There you go. And so in sadder restaurant news, the Burro, the beer company and kitchen on Park Street, closed pretty abruptly last weekend after 3 years. And honestly, I can't remember if I ate there or not. My wife says that we did go once, but before it was Burro, it was Rockhound Brewing, which was a very similar concept. So I'm not sure what it was when we went. She said we went and that we loved the mac and cheese. So
Allegedly.
I trust her, believe me. Yeah,
that's good.
She has the institutional memory for our household. Yeah.
There has to be one.
That's right. It has to be somebody. So that's a shame. It was a nice spot. The owner said it just became kind of unworkable. They were having staffing issues. He told Samara Kalk-Derby in the State Journal that they had 7 general managers in 3 years.
That's not a
That's
good
rough.
sign.
That's rough. And they had some run-ins with the city over like patio or whether they could brew their own. It's just stuff. So the guy, it wasn't his day job. So they're like, let's just can it. And then finally, this isn't a restaurant per se, but great news that Troy Farm on the north side is reviving its pizza nights for the first time since COVID. Did you guys ever go to those? I've never been.
So I've never been to the pizza night, but this is something I do in early mornings when I need to connect with myself, is like go by the community gardens. And I have been to Troy Community Gardens in the mornings when like no one is there several times, and like kind of eyeing the pizza oven, the brick pizza oven. And it's a magical space. So yeah, I think, man, this is going to be whatever it is. It's special.
Yeah. Well, so they fire up the pizza oven every Thursday and basically turn the farm into like an open air pizzeria. They put up tables and chairs and they make pizzas using the ingredients they get on the farm. So it's like, farm to table, you can't get any closer than that. It's like feet, literal feet.
The table is at the
table
farm.
is there. Yeah.
I love that. And I know people are really excited about this too. A little peek behind the curtain here. Like that was one of our most clicked links in the newsletter when you put it in the Madison Minutes. Yeah, people are really excited about it.
And they've got like the little lights, right? Like not only is the farm magical, but like it's going to have the vibe that you're like a woodland fairy.
Yeah. Eat pizza like a woodland fairy. I think that's
in the woods.
That's in the woods, yeah. So they're doing it every Thursday night through September 18th. So
amazing.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Beautiful thing.
And I mean, what a thing to support. It's time for our member shout outs. We've got Dan F, who's shouting out Jared and the whole crew at Broken Board Coffee. The coffee and creative drinks are first rate and always fresh. Coffee is a crop, and the conversation is always lively. 10 out of 5. Nice.
Amazing.
Jeff H. shouted out Bavarian Sausage in Fitchburg. Provides a large variety of authentic German meats and products. This unique shop was one of our first draws to Madison. We appreciate that the newer owners have refreshed the shop. Have you guys ever been there?
I haven't. I looked at their website though, and it does give an older vibe. So good to know they've refreshed
it. Really is like walking into a shop in Germany 50 years ago. Like there are so many varieties of meats and cheeses there. It's very old school.
Yeah.
They have cookouts on like Saturdays, I think, where they'll have a broad cookout. And it's right near a roundabout in Fitchburg. So it's like not centrally located, but it has a real following. So that's very cool that he shouted it out.
Okay.
It made me think of lawn Jaegers. I talked to somebody, an author who wrote a book about lawn Jaegers. If you guys should go back if you haven't listened. But the original thought was like, I'm going to carry this sausage with me for days. And it needs to last. And it's like that, those German roots, they stick around.
My problem is I get a lawn Jaeger and it's gone within seconds. Like
there was a minute there where I was getting them like as a regular snack. And
so
it's
good.
like, oh yeah, they preserve. That's probably not the best thing for your body to eat them every day for your system. But sausage, lawn Jaegers, they're their own thing.
We love a sausage. Shout out. Our last shout out comes to us from new member Sherry K. She says, shout out to Press House and its apartments that offer inclusive community, spiritual connection, and rent-supported housing in the heart of UW-Madison's campus. Yeah, Press House, it's like right by the East Campus Mall, by the Chazen. Super nice building. Looks like they got like a lot of great stuff going on.
Yeah, we talked to one of the leaders there on the podcast about the transformation of church space into housing. So another great conversation. And Sherry, actually, you out there are a brand new member, a brand new neighbor who left us a gorgeous message I've been thinking about all week. Why you joined to be a neighbor. You said, quote, I became a member because I recently moved back to Wisconsin from the West Coast. And it's already been a huge help in reacquainting me with this great city. I love how it highlights what makes Madison special, from local events and hidden gems to the people who make this community thrive. I also really appreciate how informative it is about what's making the news, helping me stay connected to the issues that matter most in my new/old hometown. Thank you, Sherry, for taking the time. These messages really stick with us. And yeah, wanted to make sure we shared that. And also another new neighbor from this week, Daniel V, said he joined because, quote, I want to support coverage of local events and news. It helps keep me connected to my community. We hear that a lot. Y'all, if you're excited about this space where we share shout outs, you can be a part of it as well. You can give a shout out and get one from us by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor. That's the name of our membership program. It's the best way to support our work. Plus, get some perks while doing it, like ad-free listening, members-only newsletters, and exclusive invites to neighbor events, which we've got one coming up next month that's already shaping up to be a truly special day. Become a neighbor by going to membership.citycast.fm. We love getting these shout-outs, y'all, and we love hearing from you. And this week, we got a message in our inbox about Hippie Christmas that really made us think, and we're not exactly shocked that we got a little pushback.
We had a great episode this week on Hippie Christmas that Bianca talked to Brian Johnson from the city.
The recycling coordinator for the city.
And listener Rin S thought we had lost sight of the true meaning of Hippie Christmas. They wrote and said, you discourage people from scavenging, but that's how me and most of my friends get our furniture each year. Instead of saying that all of our curb furniture is gross, you could educate people on how to safely handle curb furniture. For example, making sure fabric items are cleaned and quarantined before they go in your home, or wearing gloves when handling wood and glass. As far as I'm aware, Hippie Christmas is the only way to get completely free furniture. I was able to fully furnish my apartment for free because of this amazing Madison tradition called Hippie Christmas. I have heard similar stories from plenty of other people. Now, as somebody who has a coffee table and matching end table in my basement that was scored on the curb many years ago, I can't deny Rin has a point here.
Oh, absolutely. If there's one thing to take away from our conversation with Brian, it's just that like this thing is complicated. I love it for its quirkiness. It's so Madison, and it's just so ingrained in our city's weird culture because of the way that move out is structured, and because, you know, so many people are moving out just basically in the month of August. But Brian brought up so many good points about the fact that it just takes so much extra work and effort in terms of pickup and cleanup and keeping our city clean when people are just throwing their stuff onto the curb. You're really technically not even supposed to put stuff on the curb. It's supposed to go in your carts. He also gave a lot of tips for donations that, local businesses will come and even pick your stuff up if you can't, don't have a big SUV to haul away that table and, chairs and whatnot. So it's such a complex issue because I also have stuff that I have scored on the sidewalk from Hippie Christmas.
Yeah.
But now I'm second guessing it all. I don't know, man.
I'm not second guessing it. Naturally, I've got a number of things that I've collected. It's going to do a yes and to you, Rin. Yes and. The and part is there are actually other ways to get free furniture. They have Facebook Marketplace. There are free groups, I think also on Craigslist. And part of the conversation we had, if you get a chance to listen, is thinking of new ways and that it's free to you, but there are costs. So that's what we're trying to figure out. We aren't taking a side and we just wanted to shine some light on there's some nuance here and it's really exciting to scavenge, but there are costs and people lose things. And recommend listening to the conversation. And this conversation isn't done. Gonna continue talking about Hippie Christmas and other people want to celebrate it and, go off and, take everything into consideration. Yes, and.
Yeah. And even if you're not moving or if you're not scavenging, you can still celebrate Hippie Christmas, which, like you say, has become a thing that's even kind of larger than just finding stuff on the street. It's become this community event. Our Lit Lab is having a Hippie Christmas bash on Friday night, tonight, with live music and art. And it will also have mutual aid organizations on site. It sounds like a really great event. And then the Madison Children's Museum, they do their Adult Swim events for grownups. I think it's once a month. But anyway, the one tonight, Friday, has a moving day theme where you could play a jumbo Tetris game, you can navigate an obstacle course, and more seriously, you can learn about your renter's rights from the Tenant Resource Center. They'll have representatives there. And then on Sunday, Bianca just mentioned all the great businesses on East Johnson. They're doing kind of a welcome to the neighborhood party, like a welcome wagon, I think they used to call them in the 50s, where neighbors would bring over a casserole or something, but Johnson Public House and public parking and Robin Room and Molten Monkey Pizza. They're going to get together and have food and drink specials and special pairings between the restaurants. It's just kind of a way to bring the community together and say, howdy neighbor to the people who are just moving in and probably exhausted from moving.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, having lived on that block and most of the businesses, I'm friends with most of those owners, and they regularly tell me folks come in there in August like crazy because that area is part of the moving sphere that we talked about. The student move out goes all the way to this area. And so even living there for the 3 years that I did, I was meeting new people. And so this is a really good way to make new friends and build those sorts of neighborhood rituals where you have someone that you love and rely on. They really do it up. They recognize that. So I'm glad that they're capitalizing on it. And capitalizing sounds like capitalism. See, anti-hippie here. No, no, a lot of the principles are important, but also public safety.
I love it. There's just so much good community stuff happening this weekend. And whether you're moving or not, there are ways to get involved. Not moving related, but I just want to give one last shout out to the Magic Pride Fest, where we are going to be this Sunday over at Warner Park. Come say hi to us. We'll have swag for you, and just come talk about whether you like Hippie Christmas or not. I'm so in on this subject. Someone could write a dissertation on it at this point.
Yeah, and there probably are some on Reddit.
True. True.
It is that's 1 to 6. We're going to be there, between around 1 to 6. So catch us there. This has been a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to the weekend, likely as are you. So thanks for rounding up the news with me this week. Haley Sperling, see you later.
See you at Magic Pride.
And Rob Thomas, thanks so much.
Thanks, Bianca.
That's all for today. here on CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, your host. We're produced by Jada Siri Ramos and Francisco Kilgore. Haley Sperling is our executive producer. Our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Additional music this week by EJ Sarah, Timothy Infinite, and Xavier Nophelia from Triple Scoop Music via Getty Images. Plus, hip color courtesy of Epidemic Sound. Rob Thomas is our newsletter editor. Don't forget, you can always get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to Madison Minutes. And hey, if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone who wants to weather the storm for brighter days? Things are possible, y'all. Don't give up. All right, see you back here Monday morning with more stories from around the city. And maybe see some of you Sunday at the Outreach Magic Pride Festival. Ciao. There's something strange about saying see you later when I'm in the same room as you. I'm like, I'll see you in a second.